Welcome to Intensity Broadcasting for tonight's coverage of the SCSRA Dev Sports Cards Next Gen Series. Tonight, these Next Gens will be taking on the historic Indianapolis Motor Speedway for 100 laps of racing action. I'm going to be your announcer for tonight. My name is Atley Wiese, and I'm excited to call every second of tonight's Brickyard 100 presented by Blue Ridge Auto Group. I have been away from Intensity Broadcasting for the past 2 weeks. The broadcasts have been on Noma TV, so thank you so much to Noma TV for broadcasting the SCSRA Dev Sports Cards Next Gen Series broadcast when I couldn't and Intensity Broadcasting couldn't. I have been away doing real-life racing stuff. 2 weeks ago, I was testing my Legend car at Wake County Speedway, and then most recently, last week, I was testing my Legend car at Charlotte Motor Speedway, preparing for the summer shootout, which you may have seen from maybe advertised. I know Brexton Busch racing there. Very big Legend race. So that's what I've been doing, preparing for the real-life racing, but glad to be back here with the SCSRA series and Intensity Broadcasting. And I'm excited to call a great race here tonight at Indianapolis. I have never announced a race here, so this is going to be my first impression, just like it will be many of you all's first impression. Now, last week we were at Homestead Miami Speedway, and we saw Brian Knuutti absolutely dominate the race. He led 82 laps en route to a win, started on the pole, just absolutely dominate performance. Finishing second was Devin Butchino, third Eddie Morris. Butchino led 2 laps, Morris led 10 laps, finishing fourth was Colin Willems. And then rounding out your top 5 was Jake McCarty, who had a great race. He had led 42 laps. 6th place was Cody Moore. He led 8 laps, and then our only other lap leader in the race was your 10th place finisher. That is Jay Stinson. He led 1 lap. So after the events of Homestead Miami Speedway, here is a look at the current point standings. We do not have a graphic today, but I'm just going to tell you what it's currently looking like. Eddie Morris is your point standings leader. He's gotten 1 win this season. Actually, sorry, we have a tie for the point standings lead. Eddie Morris and Devin Butchino are tied for the point standings lead here in the Next Gen Series. So this race could greatly determine who will be the points leader, or we might come out with another tie. Cody Moore, 3rd place in points. 4th is Colin Willems, rounding out your top 5. That is Brian Merle Jr. 6th is Jake McCarty. 7th is Brett Merle. Rounding out your top 8, that is Riley Gomes. 9th is Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence. And rounding out your top 10, that is Matthew Scott. We got Brian Knuutti in the chat. He said, let's go waste the wedges. Seems like a Colin Willems type race. Colin Willems has had success at the 2+ mile intermediate tracks. He won in the Xfinity Series back in Season 3 at Michigan. So we'll see if that translates over here to Indianapolis. And speaking of wasted wages, here's a look at the current team standings. We see Neon Racing as the team standings leader, but they only have an 8-point lead over 2nd place Wasted Wages Racing so far this season. Neon Racing has 2 wins this season. One of them came from Joe Wright, and the other win came from Brian Knuutti. So Joe Wright, Brian Knuutti, they are the 2 race winners for Neon Racing. Second in the team standings, that's Wasted Wages Racing. They have gotten 3. Oh, sorry, Eddie Morris and Joe Wright are the 2 race winners for Neon Racing. Second, only 8 points behind Neon, that's Wasted Wages Racing. They've gotten 3 wins this season. One of them came from Colin Willems. One of them from Brian Knuutti. And then the other from Matthew Scott. Third in the team standing, that's Mission 22 Motorsports. They do not have a win this season. Their highest driver in the standings is Riley Gomes, who sits 8th. 4th is DBC Racing. The highest driver with DBC Racing is Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence, who sits 9th. And rounding at your top 5, that is Merle Racing. The highest driver in the standings with Merle Racing is Jake McCarty, who is currently 6th. Currently 6th in the standings is all of the free agents. Currently The highest free agent in the standings is Braxton Zog, who currently sits 20th, and then lastly 7th in the team standings is Venom Racing. And the highest Venom Racing driver in the standings is Jay Stinson. So there you go. That is your standings and update on what's going on coming into tonight. Qualifying currently underway. Drivers will get 2 laps to try to set their best possible lap time. That will determine where they will start in the feature event. Brian Knuutti says Colin, Devin, Cody, top 3. I think that is a very plausible top 3 there, Brian. Definitely some contenders that I expect to be fast all race long here at Indianapolis. Right now, Cody Moore on the top of the board. 52.80 is the time for the 52 machine. David Hartney behind him in second. He's 0.2 behind Moore. And third is John Lynch with a 53.25. That'll put him 0.4 off of Cody Moore. This is John Lynch's second race this season, so we'll see how he performs in his sophomore run. Want to give a big thank you to the series sponsor of the SCSRA Next Gen Series. That is Dev's Sports Cards. And for those of you who don't know what Dev's Sports Cards is, let me tell you a little bit about them. Dev's Sports Cards was established in 2013 by SCSRA driver and Neon Racing team owner Devin Butchino. Dev Sports Cards specializes in all your sports cards and gaming cards needs, from football, baseball, and basketball cards to Pokemon. Dev Sports Cards sells it all. On their eBay store, you can find a wide variety of items, from high-end sports cards to their weekly 99-cent starting bid 7-day auctions. Don't have time to sell your own cards? Reach out to Devin and ask about these consignment services. Simply package them up, ship them out, and Devin will get them listed, sold, and then the best part, you get paid. Dev Sports Cards can be found on eBay with 4,000 plus positive feedback, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Dev Sports Cards is a proud sponsor of the SCSRA series and Intensity Broadcasting. So thank you so much to Dev Sports Cards for sponsoring the Next Gen series. And good luck to Devin Butchino tonight as he takes on the Brickyard 100 presented by Blue Ridge Auto Group. Colin Willems able to get to second on the board with a 52.68. That will put him 0.3 behind Cody Moore. Third is now David Hartney, 0.4 off of Moore. Right now, nobody's really gotten anywhere near Cody Moore. One driver who I do think could maybe stop him, he is not qualified yet. That's Devin Butchino. He has been very good at these types of tracks. The only other time that any SCSRA series has ran at Indianapolis, guess who won that race? That's right, Devin Butchino. So we'll see if he can get there to the top of the board. Like I mentioned, tonight's Brickyard 100 is presented by Blue Ridge Auto Group. Let me tell you a little bit about Blue Ridge Auto Group. The team at Blue Ridge Auto Group, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, is immensely proud to be an active member of the thriving Abingdon, Virginia community. They're always looking for new ways to get involved with and give back to their local patrons. At Blue Ridge Auto Group, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, they strive to provide their customers with the best experience possible. From the exceptional deals they offer on new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram inventory, as well as the great selection of used trucks, SUVs, and even luxury cars. Their friendly staff of sales professionals are always readily available to assist you in comparing vehicles, exploring your financing options, and taking advantage of great savings. Whether you visit their dealership location or just browse online, they are always happy to have you. Not sure if Blue Ridge Auto Group, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram is the right fit for your automotive needs? Get to know them. Give them a call at 276-254-8289. Contact them online at blueridgecdjr.com. Link is in the description. Or visit them online at 19711, or visit them on location at 19711 Old Jonesboro Road, Abingdon, Virginia, 24211 to ask questions or get a quote. They look forward to working with you. So thank you so much to Blue Ridge Auto Group for partnering with the SCSRA Next Gen Series for the first ever season. They are sponsor. They're the race sponsor for many races throughout the season, including tonight's Brickyard 100. We have had a change in the top three. Will Witt able to get to second on the board with a 52.60. That will put him 0.2 off of Cody Moore. And then third is Colin Willems, 52.68, 0.3 off of Cody Moore. So it looks like right now we have a 1-2-3 Wasted Wages Racing. So they are just showing just how talented that entire team is. Brian Knuutti said, let's go Wasted Wages Racing. I think a Wasted Wages Racing driver has a very good chance to win tonight here at Indianapolis. Intensity Broadcasting is proud to be partnered with the Butt Kicker. And for those of you who don't know what the Butt Kicker is, let me tell you a little bit about them. Butt Kicker is the established and trusted leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker products lets users feel ultra low-frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC and console gamers, including professional sim racers. The patented design makes them incredibly accurate, powerful, and virtually indestructible. The Gamer Plus is the new and upgraded sim racing and gaming hardware that reproduces immersive, accurate, and powerful sim racing, flight sim, and gaming effects. To check out the full line of Butt Kicker products and figure out which one is right for you, visit thebuttkicker.com. Again, thebuttkicker.com is the website belonging to the established and trusted leader in gaming haptics. So thank you so much to the Butt Kicker for partnering with Intensity Broadcasting. Whenever I am on the sim, I always make sure to use my Butt Kicker, and it makes for an incredibly immersive and accurate racing experience. It feels like I drive in real life, and it's the closest I've ever felt on the sim to racing in real life. So if you're an iRacer, definitely recommend picking up a Butt Kicker. They're extremely easy to install and make for an incredible iRacing experience. Here are my keys to the race tonight. Talk a little bit about what you can expect. First of all, tires. Despite this track being 2.5 miles long, you think, man, that's very long. Must be a super speedway, but no, it is not. You got to lift, you got to brake, and so with that greatly affects the tires. So whichever driver can save the tires the best will definitely be the most successful. Another thing to note is that this is the first time this series has ever ran the next-gen cars here on this track. And another thing is iRacing might not have the most accurate setup results because NASCAR and the next gens have never raced here in real life. So the new car on the new track, this is the only time compared to real life where the next gen has ever been ran here at Indianapolis. So it'll be interesting to see how these drivers can handle it. And lastly, this track has extremely high speeds. Drivers are hitting speeds all the way up to 192 miles per hour. So you got to be very careful entering and exiting the corners, and one small mistake can lead to a lot of damage. All right, we are officially gridding for tonight's feature event, so let's take a look at the starting lineup. Starting on the pole with a scorching hot lap time of 52.359, driver for Wasted Wages Racing in the 52. That is Cody Moore. In second in the 68, Neon Racing Machine. That is Devin Butchino. Third is the Wasted Wages Racing driver of Will Witt in the 35. In fourth, he's the lone Canadian in the field in the 17. Driver for Wasted Wages Racing, that's Colin Willems. Fifth, it's Neon Racing's Eddie Morris in the 8. In sixth place, it's the 43 DBC Sim Racing driver of David Hartney. Seventh is Neon Racing's Jake McCarty in the 4. Eighth, we've got the 81 of DBC Racing's Josh Hall. Ninth is Matthew Scott in the 05. And running at your top 10, it's the number 11 Merle Racing driver of Brett Merle. 11th, it is CCM's Joe Wright in the 82. 12th is Ryan Gomes in the 55, driver for Mission 22 Motorsports. 13th is John Lynch, driver for Hickox Racing in the 90. 14th is Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence in the 47. And rounding out your top 15, it's Joe Tardif in the 48. 16th is Neon Racing's Dave Wright in the 84. 17th is the 79 of Billy Tyloff, driver for Mission 22 Motorsports. 18th is the Mission 22 Motorsports driver Blaze Richardson in the 18. 19th, starting behind their Mission 22 Motorsports teammate, that's Riley Gomes in the 9. And rounding out your top 20, that's Charles Balance, in driver for DBC Sim Racing. And rounding out your top 21, last but most certainly not least, that is Braxton Zog in the 57. Little overview of the rules of this race. It's going to be 100 laps, 75% fuel. Drivers have 6 tires over the wall that they can change throughout the race. That is plenty in my opinion, so tires going to be no issue for most drivers. There's only one faster pair. There will be 2 stages tonight because of the great length of this race. There will be a stage on lap 30 and lap 60. This race can have a maximum of 3 green-white checkers, and these drivers are running fixed setups. All right, pace car making that left turn onto pit road. Brickyard coming to green. All right, green flag is out. The Brickyard 100 presented by Blue Ridge Auto Group is underway. Cody Moore will be leading the field into 1 and 2. He's able to get clear over Devin Butchino. Butchino able to get clear for second, but the battle's on for third. Hartney went side by side as they head off of turn number 1 and off of turn number 2. Looks like Hartney has the nose on the outside, surprisingly making it work, taking advantage of the situation that he was given. And we're going to be seeing this a lot. Drivers trying to break the draft, serpentining around this 2.5-mile racetrack. Looks like Hartney able to get clear over third place. And now Devin Butchino is able to get by Cody Moore for the lead. Butchino able to get clear over Moore, trying his best to extend the gap as they head through turns 3 and 4 onto the front stretch. Top 3 extremely tight. David Hartney all over the back bumper. We see Cody Moore goes low to the bottom of the racetrack, and Hartney able to get by him. And this may leave the door open for many other drivers. Looks like Cody Moore is having issues. He has fallen way back. I'm not sure exactly what is going on with that 52 machine, but he fell way back there. So this will give Devin Butchino the lead, but he's got a hard-charging David Hartney right behind him on his back bumper. Hartney looks low on the backstretch, one of the 2 long straightaways that we have here at this speedway. And he's got the nose heading into 3 and 4. Can he complete the pass? He is able to. That STP machine gets up to the lead. So far tonight, we have had 3 different leaders in only 2 laps. And we may have a pass for second. Here comes Josh Hall in the 81. Always a dark horse contenders at this race. I was talking to him earlier. He said this is one of his favorite tracks here on the sim. And it looks like it's one of the tracks that he is the best at, because he has worked his way up from 11th all the way to 2nd as he officially completes the pass over Devin Butchino. So now Josh Hall, he will be setting his sights on David Hartney, who is beginning to extend his gap over the rest of the field. Field starting to get calmed down after a hectic first 3 laps. Drivers getting single file. I did forget to mention that tonight we have 2 very special things going on. This race is, first of all, double points. Double points are on the line, so double points could greatly affect who makes the playoffs, who does not. The winner is definitely going to have a big points race, and also you may see how it looks like a very old race. And that's because tonight is the annual throwback race of the season. So there you see, like, for example, David Hartney running the SDP car. Josh Hall, he is running a Rusty Wallace car. We got a few other throwbacks scattered throughout the field. So, yes, tonight is throwback night. So throughout the night, we'll be looking at some of the best paint schemes out here some of the cool ones that drivers are running. Last time by, David Hartney, he ran the fastest lap time of the race. 52.76 is the time for that 43 Ford Mustang. He is flying right now. Look at the chat. Brian Knuutti says second again for Devin, the new bridesmaid. I have been out for 2 weeks, but I have heard that there has been a lot of second-place finishes for Devin Butchino. I know Devin Butchino definitely doesn't want that tonight. He wants to break into victory lane. That 68 machine currently running in the 5th place spot, trying to get by Jake McCarty for 4th. Nancy Hickok says, let's go number 90. Have fun racing tonight. Hopefully the weather here will not be a problem. Let's see, where's that number 90 right now? John Lynch having a good top 10 run. Currently runs in the 7th place position, and he is battling with Will Witt for 6th right now. Can he get clear? Yes, he is able to, heading into 3 and 4. Nice pass for that 90 machine in his 2nd start of the season. But hopefully weather won't be a problem. Luckily, there is no rain or lightning delays yet here on iRacing, so weather will not be a problem. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Speedway, Indiana. Great day for racing. David Hartney's got himself an almost 2-second lead over Josh Hall. The battle is a little bit farther back. John Lynch trying to stay ahead of Brett Merle for that 6th place position. Merle all over the back bumper of John Lynch, trying to make a move here. Right now, Merle looking high, looking low, trying to set up the pass. On the long straightaways that we have here, it's very easy to catch the draft. So that's what Merle's going to try to do here on this front stretch. He's going to try to suck up right to the back bumper of John Lynch. Get a good run and dive underneath him as they head into 1 and 2. The draft very strong here, despite drivers braking and lifting through the corners. The track is still extremely fast. I'm seeing some drivers hitting up to 200 miles per hour. That's absolutely insane. These next gens are flying around this 2.5 mile speedway. And we've got a yellow flag out here at Indianapolis. Gonna take a look at the wreckage replay to see exactly what happened. And it looks like this incident has something to do with Cody Moore, who has had a rough race thus far after starting on the pole. Let's go ahead and see what went wrong for Cody. As you can see, we're doing our 80s Intensity Broadcasting logo in honor of it being Throwback Night tonight. And when we were doing the stream starting soon, we had some disco music. All right, here's what happened. Side by side between Cody Moore and Dave Wright on the front stretch. They got some battles in front of them. That is Will Witt and Joe Wright. So nice run on the outside for Moore. Ooh. So looks like Cody Moore has a good... Yeah, I think Dave Wright, yeah, he comes up on Cody, getting him in the left rear. And that sends him down into the inside wall. I think the issue there was that Dave Wright, he saw that Cody Moore was getting by him on the outside. He thought he was clear, went up to suck up behind the 52, and fortunately he ended up hitting that left rear quarter panel. So, tough break for Cody Moore. Looked really good in qualifying. So we are now under caution here. Dayton Wiese says, what allows it to get more spread out here than what it does at Daytona or Talladega? And so the main thing is just the fact that these drivers have to brake and they have to lift. And the reason why they do that is this track does not have nearly as much banking as Daytona and Talladega has. Those tracks have probably some of the most, if not the most, banking on the NASCAR schedule. Well, this has a lot smaller banking compared to Daytona and Talladega. So I'd say banking is definitely the main reason. The track has a little bit of banking, as you can see there on your screen. But, again, not nearly enough as Daytona and Talladega have. We've got some pit stops. We got some split decisions. Some drivers staying out, some drivers come in. Let's see what's the deal. So for David Hartney, it's just a gas and go. Few people taking tires. So David Hartney will win the race off of pit road. He comes out in 9th. We did see many drivers stay out. Looks like Eddie Morris, Devin Butchino, John Lynch, Matthew Scott, Joe Wright, Dave Wright, Ryan Gomes, and Billy Tyvoff all stayed out. So we got some split strategies right now. While the rest of the field, we see David Hartney, Josh Hall, Will Witt, Cheeseburger. They all take fuel. We see Jake McCarty takes 4 tires. Tardif takes fuel. Brett Merle and back, they all take tires. So, interesting to see how quickly these drivers with 10-lap fresher tires will be able to work their way up to the field to the front. So, again, with everybody coming in, Eddie Morris is your current race leader. Cassie Williams says, let's go, Colin, in the Wasted Wages boys. Let's see where all the Wasted Wages drivers currently are. Cody Moore, he was involved in the most recent incident, but he is still on the lead lap. He currently resides in the 19th place position. Colin, he is 16th. He came in and took fresh tires during the most recent pit stop. Matthew Scott currently runs in the 4th place spot. Going to be restarting on the outside second row here. He stayed out during the most recent pit stops. We got Will Witt. He currently runs in 11th. He just took fuel for the pit stop. And that will do it. That'll show where all the Wasted Wages racing drivers are. The only other one, Brian Knuutti, he is not here tonight. All right, lights on the pace car are out. We are getting ready to go back green here. Eddie Morris will restart on the bottom. Devin Butchino on the top. Behind them is John Lynch, Matthew Scott, and then Joe Wright running in that 5th place position. The farthest up driver on fresh tires is going to be Jake McCarty. And Jake is restarting in 13th. So he's got a little bit of ground to make up before he will catch the leaders. But with 10-lap fresher tires and on such a long track, I think he can make it up fairly quickly. There we see Eddie Morris running a sort of throwback. He's got the DaleJr.com Junior Motorsports car. So a neat car for that 8 machine, hoping to park it in victory lane tonight. Eddie Morris currently tied for the point standings lead, and I just realized the driver who he is currently tied with for the point standings lead, he is on his outside on this restart. Yep, Devin Butchino, other driver tied with him, starting side by side as they come to the green. All right, that Mustang making that left turn onto pit road. While the next-gen Mustang is getting ready to take off here, the rest of the next-gens. All right, green flag is back out. Eddie Morris leads the field into 1 and 2. The battle's on for second. John Lynch, Devin Butchino side by side, and as they head to 1 and 2, Lynch able to get clear over Devin Butchino. Now John trying to suck up to Eddie Morris and reel him in for this first place position. He's got a nice run off of turn number 2. He is able to close that gap. Going to try to suck up even more, taking advantage of this long straightaway that we have here. Yeah, he's getting closer and closer and closer. And he looks down underneath him into 3 and 4. Can he get to his rear quarter panel? Yes, he's able to get there. He's able to get to his door. Off of 4. They go. He's got the nose as they head on to the front stretch. And he is able to get clear. John Lynch to the race lead here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And he is able to lead that lap after a crazy restart. But Eddie Morris not letting him get too far ahead. He is staying right on his back bumper into turns 1 and 2. Looking to maybe try to get that lead back in the next lap or 2. And then right behind Eddie, watch out, there's Matthew Scott in the 05 looking to try to make some noise. So Eddie Morris in a rough situation right now. He's having to play offense and defense, having to fight a battle on 2 fronts. So we'll see if he can make it work. He's trying to look underneath John Lynch. We see John Lynch trying to break the draft, which is oh so important here. Onto the front stretch. Top 3 stays the same, but still very close to each other. Although John Lynch is beginning to extend that gap between himself and the rest of the field. Next time by, we will be 15 laps away from the stage break, which will be at lap number 40. We will have 3 stages instead of 2 tonight. So right now, Eddie Morris continuing to try to get by John Lynch for this first place position. And right now, I would definitely assume that he is trying to catch the draft on the straightaways and just suck up to the back bumper of that 90 machine who, goodness gracious, he has just been a big mover all throughout tonight. Lynch started in 13th. And here he is leading the field, getting ready to lead yet another lap tonight. Impressive run so far, and only his 2nd race with this group of drivers. He's got to hold off a veteran, though, Eddie Morris. Eddie Morris is one of the drivers in the field that does have... Oh, we got a caution flag out. Billy Tydloff has crashed. I was saying, though, Eddie Morris, one of the drivers with experience here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. All right, let's see what happened to Billy Tydloff here. All right. So we're watching that 79 machine head into turns 1 and 2. Able to get down to the bottom of the racetrack well. Keeping it right around that white line, and it looked like as soon as he got back into the gas off of the corner, just came out from under him, got loose, and oh, hard into the outside wall. We're getting to see that new damage model in action. The entire hood comes off. Oof. Not what that 79 wanted to see so early on in this race. And it looks like Indianapolis Motor Speedway has claimed its first victim tonight. Our first caution was an incident between 2 drivers, but that was just right there between Tydloff and the racetrack there. So hopefully he can get that damage fixed and get back out there. We see some pit road faking. Will anybody make the choice to go down? Yes, Colin Willems says, hey, I'll give it a shot. We'll see what he does down here. Cheeseburger comes in. Got Josh Hall, or he's already on pit road. But we'll see what Willems and Cheeseburger do. The driver, the first driver on fresh tires, Jake McCarty, he has worked his way up to 10th after restarting in 13th. So despite having fresher tires than the rest of the field, he honestly has not made up too much ground. I mean, we've seen how after like the first lap, the whole field gets extremely strung apart, and that just proves how important track position is here at Indianapolis. I think a lot of drivers right now are choosing to sacrifice the 6 fresh tires over the wall and instead taking the track position that's available to them just because of how hard it is to pass. I was talking to the DBC sim racing drivers, and they were just complaining about how hard it is to pass here. And when this track was on the NASCAR schedule, I do remember how, you know, after one lap, it was very difficult for passing. The field would get very strung out. I mean, this is a very long racetrack, 2.5 miles. A very similar length to what Daytona is. Look at the race info for tonight's event. 82 degrees Fahrenheit, 49% humidity, partly cloudy skies, 2 miles per hour wind speed. It is a hot, hot track. 104 degrees Fahrenheit is the track temperature. And a lot of times, a hot track can be a slower track, can be a slicker track. We'll see. And it can also speed up the tire wear process. We'll see what the 2 drivers that went on pit road did. Again, both of them taking more tires. So Colin Willems is the first driver on fresh tires. Then a few drivers have the tires that they started with. And then drivers like Jake McCarty are on tires that they came in and changed a little bit earlier in the race. Lap 10. So John Lynch will restart on the bottom. Eddie Morris on the top. Matthew Scott. Devin Butchino running at your top 5. Joe Wright. And he just posted it today. John Lynch, he is running a very special scheme tonight. He is running the leukemia ribbon on his car, and he said his father had it, but luckily he is he's now 18 years cancer-free, and he's running it tonight because he grew up 2 miles away from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So really cool to see John Lynch showing awareness for leukemia, and again, his father had experience with it, but he's 18 years cancer-free. So glad to hear that John Lynch's father is doing well and is cancer-free. Definitely prayers out to anyone who's going through cancer right now, or or anybody who's going through leukemia right now, or has anyone, or if you have a family member with leukemia, definitely prayers out to you or your family. Pace car is in. Getting ready to go back green. John Lynch restarting on the bottom. Eddie Morris restarting on the top. Green flag is out. Up through the gears goes John Lynch, using that sequential shifter that these next gens have. Matthew Scott trying to make a pass on Eddie Morris for second place. He was very close to him during the last run. Now he's going to try to get by him here. Matthew Scott, he's been a big mover. Started this race in 9th. He's worked his way up to the 3rd place position. Now trying to track down Eddie Morris. Got a nice battle going on for 4th place. David Hartney all over the back bumper of Devin Butchino. Maybe going to try to dive it down into turns 3 and 4. No, he is not able to get by Devin Butchino, continuing to try to stay on that back bumper of the 68. I think we may see that 43 try to build up a big run on this front stretch, suck up to the rear bumper, and get underneath that 60. And oh, we got a battle for the lead. Eddie Morris underneath John Lynch into 1 and 2. They are side by side. Eddie Morris, big run. He gets clear, and Eddie Morris back to the 1st place position, but Lynch with the crossover. Lynch underneath Morris. He's got a nice run, and he's able to get back clear, back and forth throughout this lap between Morris and Lynch. Morris staying on the back bumper of John Lynch, trying to get the first place position back again. Little bit of leapfrog going on between these two. Looks like it's calmed down at the moment. Eddie Morris did not try to get underneath Lynch through the corner, but he's still staying awfully close to that 90 machine. And once again, like we saw before that caution flag came out, Eddie Morris, he is having to fight a battle on two fronts. I just saw a car hard into the wall. I don't know if it's going to bring... Oh, my gosh! Caution flag is out. Oh, my gosh. I don't know if anybody saw that. If not, we'll check it out with the wreckage replay. Good gosh. That was insane right there. All right, so we're watching Joe Tardif in the 48 machine. So first of all, we saw Brett Merle. He got into the outside wall, so Tardif turns down underneath him to avoid him, but he turns down right into the pit wall, and that sends him up the racetrack. He goes across the nose of the 11. 18 comes piling in, the 47. Willems gets involved. Man. Nasty, nasty incident right there. Again. Watch it. So we see off of 4. Merle tags the outside wall. Tardif turns down to avoid it. We see a few other cars do the same, and they're able to successfully do it. But when Tardif turns down to avoid it, turns down right into the pit wall, sends him flying up the racetrack across the nose of Brett Merle. Blaze Richardson piles in Cheeseburger. Gosh, got some torn up race cars there. So right now, Brett Merle, he gets off of pit road. And he looks like he took his fast repair. Each driver has one fast repair, and what it means is if you can get it back to pit road, get it to your pit stall, it automatically fixes all your damage. But after this, if they get any more damage, they have to wait to get it fixed. So you got to use your fast repair very sparingly. Got a few drivers on pit road. Will Witt, Joe Wright, Cheeseburger, Willems, Wright, Richardson. We'll see what they do on pit road, but John Lynch. He remains your leader. Sorry, my SDK was messed up. Able to get that fixed. There we go. So it looks like most recently on pit road, most drivers come in and take fuel. We see Joe Wright takes tires, Dave Wright takes tires, Will Witt does, and Blaze Richardson does. So get even fresher tires out in the field. And there are still 5 drivers that have yet to come in. Ryan Gomes, Devin Butchino, Matthew Scott, Eddie Morris, John Lynch. It's just going to be a battle between the different strategies now. And that was always the cool part about Indianapolis on the Cup schedule, it was an extremely strategy race, and it made it exciting to see which strategy would pay off. Nancy Hickox with the smiley emoji. Definitely happy that John Lynch is having a very successful race so far. He leads the field. But he's going to have a lot of pressure from Eddie Morris on his outside here. Coming up on this next restart behind them. Matthew Scott, Devin Butchino, and then rounding out your top 5. That is the 4 of Jake McCarty. I think we're going to try to see Matthew Scott take advantage of the fact that he's starting behind the control car here. And he's going to try to get underneath Eddie Morris. See what he can do. Right, we are coming to the green flag. Coming to the restart. Pace car makes that hard left turn onto pit road. And as they cross the start-finish line, we are a quarter through the race. Green flag is back out. There's John Lynch leading the field into turns 1 and 2. And like I said, Matthew Scott taking advantage of starting behind the control car. He is able to get underneath Eddie Morris. They're side by side, taking it off of turn number 2. Or taking off of turn number 1, sorry. This track very unique with its corners, and Matthew Scott able to get by Morris, but there's Morris looking underneath. Matthew Scott on this long straightaway going to try to make a pass into turn number 3. They remain side by side. Here they are through turn number 4. Can Eddie shut the door? Yes, he is able to. He gets to the second place position. Matthew Scott falls to 3rd. Devin Butchino 4th. We got the 43 of David Hartney in 5th. Josh Hall says 81 is done. That is unfortunate. That was a nasty wreck for sure. Hey, if you're bored, feel free to hop into the broadcast booth, Josh. We would definitely be happy to have you here for tonight's broadcast, since you can't race. Just hop into the waiting room if you want. So right now, Eddie Moore's trying to track down John Lynch for this first place position, 3/10 behind him. The battle's on for 3rd. David Hartney reeling in. Matthew Scott sucking up them on the front stretch. He looks low into 1. And there we are. They're side by side. Hartney to his door. And they are practically door to door now. Off of turn number 2, Hartney with the nose. Can't quite shut the door yet. Scott with a good run off of the corner. Behind them, we also have a side by... Oh, and looks like Scott able to get clear over David Hartney. Josh Hall says you missed the first one. Oh, there was another one. Jeez. Right now, David Hartney continuing to try to set up a pass on Matthew Scott here. We are 2 laps away from the stage break, and the battle for the lead is beginning to heat up. Eddie Morris closing the gap between himself and John Lynch. Bit by bit, he's getting closer and closer to that back bumper. There he is, taking it off of turn number 4. He continues to suck up on the front stretch. I think he's able to get underneath them by the time they enter turn number 1. Looks like he goes to the high side. Lynch exposes that high side, but that might be to his advantage because that is not the preferred groove here. We do see Lynch pushes up the track, though. Might have pinched off his entry a little bit too much, and that will allow Eddie Morris to get underneath him as they head off of turn number 2. As I say that, Lynch is able to shut the door, and he keeps it in the lead for the time being. But Eddie Morris is right there, both of them fighting for the 10 stage points that are available. I do not think that stage points are double, just the final race points that you earn. But still, 10 points can definitely help you a little, especially John Lynch is not eligible for the playoffs. And so looks like this caution is just going to lead us right into the stage break. But this caution is not the stage caution. It's because of an on-track incident. Let's take a look at what happened here. Looks like Ryan Gomes has gone for a wild ride. All right, let's watch what happens. So looks like Ryan... Whoa. Let me rewind that there. So looks like Ryan Gomes battling with Riley Gomes. And all of a sudden, that 55 just starts going towards the grass. Didn't hit anything. Didn't look like the car was loose. Just tags the outside wall. I don't know if his wheel died, maybe? But he drifts way down the racetrack into the wall. Getting no contact from anyone, and that will give him a lot of damage there. Man, that stinks. Joining us here in the broadcast booth, he ran the first 20 laps of this race. Now he's going to be here to call the rest of it. We got Josh Hall here in the broadcast booth, broadcaster for the Truck Series on Tuesday nights. How are you doing tonight, Josh?
I could be better. Rather be out there on the track than in here, but, you know, those things happen.
Walk us through what happened there with the incident.
Well, the first one, I was running just after that first caution came out, I was running back there, and I believe it was Brian Boyd got into the corner a little bit slower. You know, he's, you know, on older tires, and Jake McCarty took a dive bomb underneath me. Didn't realize the 79 was checking up so much. He locked up the brakes and sent me hard up into the outside wall just before that second caution came out. So that's why I was on pit road when that caution came out. And then, well, you saw the second one where I saw the wreck and got on the binders, locked them up, and just nowhere to go. Track was blocked.
Well, tough break here. Indianapolis, very, very tricky track. I know this is an interesting experience because the Cup cars, these next-gen cars in real life, do not race here. What was your experience with these cars here? I know that this is one of your favorite tracks, but I'm sure, is this your first time running it here, and what were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was my first time in the next-gen car, and there's a ton of grip. They draft great. You know, that first run, I was running second to Hartney for a while, and before that first caution came out, and was just getting into a groove. I know a lot of guys are trying to save some fuel there, but you know, I was just logging laps, seeing what it would do at the end, so I knew what to expect towards the end of the race because I was hoping to have a good run here tonight.
Well, we'll see what happens. We just had the stage break caution and everybody coming in, getting fresh tires, so it's going to be an equal playing field once again. Throughout that first stint before the stage break, we saw some various strategies, some drivers choosing to come in earlier than others or later than others, but it's going to be an equal playing field once again, so interested to see what happens here on this restart. Looks like that's Billy Tithoff. He gets one of his laps back. He was involved in one of the previous incidents, I believe the first caution. So he's going to continue to try to chip away and get those laps back.
Yeah, there's a lot of hard racing out there right now too, which is kind of surprising, being that I was really expecting this to be more of a fuel mileage race. But yeah, there's Hartney's right up there at the front, and see Eddie up there in the lead right now. So it's been a lot of surprises where drivers are running right now. So it should be interesting to see how this one works itself through.
Yeah, that first stint, it was definitely looking like it was going to be fuel mileage race, minimal cautions. But then that first caution came out with Billy Tithoff, and I mean, you know what they say, we got a t-shirt on intensitybroadcasting.com, cautions breed cautions, and it's definitely coming to play here tonight. So we'll see if maybe we can get a long green flag run between now and the next stage, which will be on lap number 60, and I think we may see some drivers try to split between now and lap number 60 and half. This track extremely brutal on the tires, as we mentioned, and the keys to the race, so it'll be interesting to see the strategies until lap number 60, but we're getting ready for the restart. Eddie Morris restarting on the bottom. We got David Hartney restarting on the top. He's definitely a dark horse driver that has looked very good all throughout the night and could be competing for the win. John Lynch, he's looked really good up in the top 3. Fourth is Jake McCarty, and rounding out your top 5 on this restart, that is going to be Devin Butchino, that Ford Mustang pace car, onto pit road, getting ready for the restart. Here we go. Green flag is back out. Eddie Morris up through the gears, heading into turns 1 and 2, using that next-gen sequential shifter. Side by side for second, it's Lynch and Hartney, and looks like John Lynch able to slide up in front of Hartney. Crossover move as they head off of turn number 1. Now Hartney looking to try to make the pass on Lynch as they head off of turn number 2. Some great battling going on for second place. Morris loves to see it. This will allow him to extend his gap over second place. They remain side by side on the backstretch, keeping it off each other. With they're being side by side, can't really take advantage of that draft. Wow, they remain side by side. Some great racing going on between these two.
And that's not easy to do. That car on the outside, there's not a lot of grip, and when you're on the inside like that, that car wants to really get loose and spin around. So the fact that both those drivers were able to stay side by side as long as they did is really impressive on their end. Yeah,
that was definitely an impressive move, and looks like David Hartney is able to get clear over John Lynch, but John Lynch not done yet, trying to get by him. And also another thing is the turns, they may look wide, but they are a lot narrower than some of the other tracks that we race at. So sometimes there can be not a lot of room for error. We see David Hartney officially able to shut the door on John Lynch, but Lynch staying right on his back bumper, using that draft that we're seeing on these long straightaways, and he's going to try to maybe make a pass here into 3 and 4. Nope, the opportunity does not present itself. He's going to continue to try to set it up.
Yeah, it's not just that the track is narrow. The corners come up on you so fast. And what I mean by that is when you're coming off the corner, that wall sneaks up on you incredibly fast. You're carrying so much speed off the corners, especially this next-gen car. I think if I'd have to say we're carrying about 10 to 15 miles an hour more speed through the corners than we did in the previous Cup cars.
Yeah, these cars are hitting insane speeds. Top speed for most of the drivers are around 200, 201 miles per hour, which is extremely, extremely fast. And it's been some great racing so far. Field's starting to get spread out, and this may be a sign that we're beginning to see a green flag run starting to brew. Eddie Morris, he currently has a 7/10 lead over David Hartney. John Lynch in that third place spot. Devin Butchino in fourth. And then rounding at your top 5, that is Jake McCarty. Got a battle going on for the 7th place position. 2 teammates with Wasted Wages Racing. That's Will Witt reeling in Colin Willems. And he's got a nice run off of turn number 4 as they head onto the straightaway. Going to try to take advantage of that gap and get by Colin Willems here. We'll see if he can do it. He's got a nice run.
And Eddie just tucked down to the bottom and let Hartney by. He's trying to save a little bit of fuel. He's getting way too far out in front.
Yeah, there we go. David Hartney, like you said, he is to the lead. So Eddie Morris, some fuel-saving strategy going on. We'll see if that happens to anybody else, if anybody else opts to fall behind and give some positions in order to save fuel and make it to the end of the stint, which will be on lap number 60. So David Hartney says, okay, I'll lead this race. And here he is heading on off of turn number 4, leading this race 4/10 over Eddie Morris, taking advantage of Eddie Morris' fuel-saving strategy. Got a battle going on for 5th place right now. Matthew Scott trying to break into the top 5 in that 05 machine. It's been a good run for Scott so far. One of the driver who I think is definitely going to be a championship contender come playoff time, looking to try to get by Jake McCarty. Both of them even on the bottom. Just this track, we've seen all throughout tonight, it is extremely hard to pass. You really have to take a decent amount of time to set up the runs.
Yeah, I mean, you really want to get the run off of turns 2 and 4, and that's the toughest thing to do. That's your best passing opportunities. You can't really make moves in the short shoots between the 2 corners, but you can definitely set the corner up to try to make a pass. You see Eddie kind of gaining back on Hartney right now, and I think Hartney just wants to, again, keep Eddie in tow. That car that's running out front, he's going to feel the best. He's going to have the best tire wear as well, where those cars behind him in the dirty air, they're using a little bit more tires. These cars are incredibly tight when they get behind another car, which is really surprising. It kind of catches you out sometimes.
Yeah, as just watching the NASCAR races on Sundays, I've definitely noticed that the dirty air is playing a lot more of a factor with these next-gen cars, especially on the short tracks, and it looks like it's definitely affecting things here at the intermediate track. So right now, David Hartney definitely enjoying being up front, not having anybody to worry about, not having the dirty air to worry about. But we do see Eddie Morris beginning to close that gap between himself and David Hartney, like you mentioned. But John Lynch, he is underneath Eddie for that 2nd place position. Battle for 2nd. Here they are coming off of turn number 4. Side by side on the front stretch. Eddie Morris gonna try to get by him on the outside into 1 and 2, but John Lynch with that preferred groove. He's hoping to not pinch off that corner too much on entry, still trying to give it a little bit of arc so he's not tight. Ooh, sliding around a little bit. He loses the car. I think that may be one of the effects of his low entry, and that's going to allow Eddie Morris to stay in that 2nd place spot for the time being. Getting loose definitely killed that 90 Machines run.
And look how much time Hartney gained on Eddie with those 2 cars running side by side. So once you get side by side, if you cannot complete the pass, it's almost a death sentence.
Yeah, Hartney, like you said, definitely taking advantage of that battle between Morris and Lynch. And I mean, it happens in all places, including here. If you're battling, it's slowing you down because you're not running your preferred groove. If you're on the bottom, you're being pinched down by the car on the top. And if you're on the top, you're not in the preferred groove because you're running a little bit higher than you're used to. So it slows both of you down, and it definitely makes the 1st place car glad that you're battling. I believe I see some lap traffic. Yes, that is some lap traffic on track right now. That's Cody Moore, who has had a rough race thus far. There he is on the backstretch. We'll see how these leaders handle getting by Cody. It's only 1 lap car, not like a gaggle, so it should be too difficult.
Yeah, I saw Cody had a connection issue earlier, dropped out of the race, was able to get back in it, and kind of put him in a bad position. So I'll see if he's able to get himself back onto the lead lap at some point.
Yeah, I definitely had us guessing on the start. All of a sudden, I just saw him just immediately start to slow down and go to the bottom of the racetrack. But glad Cody has gotten his connection issue fixed, but I don't think he's going to be able to win this race, and except for if something crazy happens. He's 16 laps down right now. So Cody Moore just fighting for just any points he can get, hoping that maybe a driver drops out of the race and he can take advantage of all the laps that they're going to lose with them being out of the race. We got a side-by-side battle for 2nd.
Yeah, Lynch back to the balance side. They were door-to-door as they came off of turn number 2, and Lynch had to tuck back in line. They almost made some contact there through the corner, and that's another thing. These cars are so aero-dependent, and when you get side-by-side like that, it really upsets the airflow of the car, it really upsets the handling, especially with those small spoilers that you see on the back of these cars. If you get a car right up on your back bumper, it can actually really loosen the car up as it goes into the corner. So you can play with the air a little bit to try to take advantage of the car in front of you or around you.
And you see it a lot on Sundays, too, especially at the 1.5 miles. Drivers getting up to the driver's rear quarter panel and dumping some air on it, and that gets the car a little bit free as well. So the car's definitely aero-dependent. We've seen some drivers using that to their advantage to make passes all throughout tonight.
Yeah, iRacing's done a really good job modeling the side draft. And you can really feel, you can actually feel it in these cars quite a bit. So as they run side by side, as you saw, it really slows these cars down.
We've got a battle between former teammates here, Jake McCarty and Devin Butchino. And as I say that, the gap between second and third is beginning to close once again. Eddie Morris and John Lynch battling it out here. These two have been going at it for a long time, and this has just allowed David Hartney to continue to extend his gap with this lead, and he's just hoping they continue to battle more and more and more. And so far with these battles, Lynch has not been able to get by Eddie Morris. Morris has done a good job defending that second place position. You can tell he is still saving that fuel a little bit to try to get it to lap number 60 while also keeping it in the second place position. So Eddie Morris, he knows how to get it done. He's good at fuel saving. He's good at tire saving. He's got one win this season, looking to get win number 2 tonight.
Yeah, the tire wear isn't really that big of an issue at this track. It's a lot less than I was expecting. After the second run there, our tires were still around 94%, so they still had plenty of tread on them. So really surprising how well these Goodyears held up here.
And I will say with that second run, we did see a few cautions. So looking to, with this long green flag run, we'll see how much quicker the tires will wear and how much more uncomfortable these cars will feel at the end of the run without any cautions to worry about. We see Brian Knuutti in the chat. He says he is going to change his pick to David Hartney for the win, and I would say that is not a bad pick at all. Hartney has looked great all race long. He's been running up front. Currently has a 1-second lead over second place Eddie Morris. He's just got to have a good more 55 laps, and I think he can definitely park it in victory lane. So watch out for that 43 Ford Mustang of David Hartney, and if he wins, I believe this will be his first ever Wednesday night. Has he ever gotten a Truck Series win?
No, he has not, and I've been watching this great battle as Brett Merle finally got around Dave Wright. They were just battling side by side for about 5 laps there, and man, that was a great battle.
Brett Merle able to work his way up the 9th. Dave Wright on the verge of dropping out on the top 10, and it looks like the driver that could knock him out of the top 10 is coming up on him, and they're related. It's his brother, Joe Wright, reeling in that back bumper, looking to try to knock out his brother out of the top 10, so we'll see if that battle progresses any. But right now, field really starting to get spread out in this portion.
Ooh, the 11 just got up into the wall hard.
Yeah, I saw that gap decrease instantly. Dave Wright takes advantage of that quick momentum loss. He gets by him, and looks like Joe Wright will get by Brett Merle. So it looks like Brett Merle is the driver that gets knocked out of the top 10, and we see the 11 is now in P11 on track. We see he's running that Bubba Wallace Columbia Sportswear car that we saw him run at North Wilkesboro, I believe. So kind of a throwback. Wasn't too long ago, but still, that was definitely one of my favorite cars in that All-Star race. So Brett Merle looking good on track in that Toyota Camry.
Yeah, that's his primary sponsor for the entire season. So, but yeah, he just got up into the gray and washed up the track, topped the wall, and you see the momentum loss that you get there is Joe Wright starting to run down Dave right here.
Speaking of running down, John Lynch beginning to reel in Eddie Morris on the backstretch, taking advantage of that long stretch to suck up to that back bumper, taking advantage of that draft. Yeah, he's able to get right there, heading off of turn number 4. So he's going to try to build up a good run here on the front stretch, and I think we may see the 90 machine dive down into turns 1 and 2 to try to take this second place spot from Eddie Morris. Yep, we saw he peaked down low. He is not able to get underneath Eddie, though. Eddie keeps it in the second place position for the time being.
Yeah, that's a smart move. He's going to try to get a good run here off of turn number 2 to try to get the run down the backstretch, but I don't think he's just close enough to make that move at the time. As you see Hartney kind of doing a little serpentine there, getting himself down to the bottom, trying to break the draft of the drivers behind.
Yep, I mentioned that earlier in the broadcast. Got to be looking out for that all throughout this race on the long straightaways that we have drivers moving up and down the track, serpentining like you saw the IndyCars doing in the Indianapolis 500. They're just trying to break that draft so drivers can't suck up on them like at a super speedway, and we've seen the power of that draft. Drivers can get massive runs on the straightaways and use it to their advantage to make the passes. So if you can break that draft, it can definitely keep you in your position for a little bit longer. We've had some pit road activity very recently. Colin Willems came in, got a faster pair. Brett Merle came in, got some damage fixed. And what is he doing? He is way off the track in the grass. I think he might have messed up on his pit road exit. Oh, we do have a caution. Braxton Zog has wrecked. We'll see what happens here with the wreckage replay. Again, we got the Intensity Broadcasting 80s logo all throughout the broadcast, celebrating the throwback race that we have tonight. So I believe the caution is because of Braxton Zog, not Merle off track. But we'll see if my theory is correct. That's what it looks like on my SDK. We'll see here. All right, so here's Braxton Zog taking it off of turn number 2. Or sorry, turn number 1. And looks like he maybe loses the car on corner exit and just goes way down the racetrack. Oh, I see smoke. I think he may have locked up the brakes potentially.
Or he could have downshifted by mistake instead of upshifting and blew the motor there. That's a possibility too.
Yeah, he just goes way down the racetrack. Yes, that is a. Is anybody shifting? You think any throughout the corners?
Oh yeah, I was shifting the whole race, and it looks like Brett just there's a really big bump off of the pit road there. As soon as you're coming off pit road, it's really easy to, if you rewind this and go to camera 3, it's a really good view of the, or maybe it's camera 2. One of those TV cameras over there. You can see the bump there that upsets the car and just sends him right around.
You saw that 11 machine getting a little bit of airtime, and that just breaks the car loose. But I think your theory's right there with Braxton Zog. He was downshifting into the corner, and as he was upshifting, he might have accidentally downshifted, and that upset the motor and just sent him down the racetrack. Because once you know that it breaks the car loose, it hurts the motor. It's not a good time when you miss a shift there.
No, it's definitely not. And I know from experience, I was running 5th gear all the way down the straightaways, and as soon as I was hitting the brakes down into turn 1, I was downshifting right to 4th gear to help slow the car down and help to get the car to turn, using the rear end to get the car to turn a little bit.
But that's the nature of what can go wrong with the downshifting, though, as we saw. That could have potentially be why we saw Braxton Zog get into that incident there, missed a shift. It's a little bit less hard to do it with the sequential shifting compared to the H pattern, but still, you could go, depending on how your shifter is configured, you could go the wrong way. Because for the sequential shifting, I believe most people, I know that's how it is in the Legend with the sequential shifting. You pull it towards you to upshift, so he may have accidentally pushed it up away from him and downshifted.
Yeah, I know, depending if you're running the paddles or you're running the shifter, yeah. Yeah, typically you push the shifter forward to downshift because you're using the momentum of the car as you're on the brakes. It's pushing you forward. It's a little easier to push the shifter forward and pull it back on acceleration.
Very easy to do for sure. I've definitely made that mistake a couple times in my Legend. But we got Dayton Weiss with the question, how many cautions have there been so far
believe it was, this is the 4th for incident and 5th overall with this. Oh, actually, the stage was part for incident. So this
Yeah.
is the 4th caution of the race.
This is, yeah, so this is, I looked, this is the 5th caution of the race, so we've gotten to the halfway point now. Lights on the pace car are off. We're getting ready to go back green here, and David Hartney will be leading the field to the green with Eddie Morris on his outside, John Lynch in 3rd, Jake McCarty in 4th, and rounding out your top 5. That is not Joey Logano. That's who his throwbacks from. It's Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence in the 47. That would be cool if Joey Logano was in this series. But so currently looking at who is on the fresher tires most recently on the pit stop, we see Devin Butchino in 8th. He is the first driver on fresh tires. So we'll see how much of an advantage that will make for that 62 machine as he tries to work his way up to the field on the restart. Also, Matthew Scott with fresh tires, Will Witt, Charles Balance, Ryan Gomes, Riley Gomes, Tythoff, all of them are on those fresh tires, so looking to try to work their way up to the field on this restart.
And with only 8 laps to go here in the stage, I think it's going to be pretty wild. Actually, I would take that back. 18 laps to go in the stage. So, or is it 8? No, it is 8 laps. Lap of 60. So this is going to be, I think it's going to be pretty wild here coming to the end.
Absolutely. These drivers are fighting for valuable points that will help them towards their goal of making the playoffs. I know you were fighting for the playoffs all season long last season, and you know just how valuable those stage points are.
Yeah, I'm just barely on the outside looking in here tonight as well. So having this incident here tonight, really hurt my chances. I need to get a win now in one of the upcoming races. But here we go, pace car's off.
All right, green flag is back out. There's David Hartney. There you go. That's officially out. David Hartney leading the field into turns 1 and 2 side by side for second. John Lynch and Eddie Morris. And John Lynch, great run into turns 1 and 2. He is almost able to get clear. Let's see if he can officially, little tag to the wall for Eddie Morris. Yes, John Lynch is able to get clear. Jake McCarty will follow behind him, take advantage of the fact that Eddie Morris was up the racetrack, and now McCarty looking underneath John Lynch for the second place spot.
Look at Devin Butchino making it 3 wide down the backstretch underneath Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence and teammate Joe Wright. And Cheeseburger gets a little into the 82. That's going to allow Devin to get right on by Joe there and really break some momentum of both the 47 and the 82.
Yeah, we saw Cheeseburger lose a whole lot of momentum there for that incident, but we know why Devin Butchino was working his way up to the field like a mad bandit. That is because he is the first driver on fresh tires. So take advantage of those freshies and getting up through the field. He's now catching second, third, and fourth. John Lynch, Eddie Morris, and Jake McCarty. Oh, they're dooring each other. Eddie Morris and Jake McCarty, tight battle between those two. And I can hear the Jaws theme. Here comes Devin Butchino on those two. Looks like he is trying to get underneath McCarty. Yes, he is able to, taking advantage of the fact that he was up the racetrack, that Eddie Morris has gotten him up the racetrack. We are 3 wide, heading into turn number 3. Can they get through it? They can make it work. We've seen people make it work most of the time. And yes, they are able to get clear. Eddie Morris, we're 3 wide once again. Now Devin Butchino is underneath these
contact.
3. Yes.
Contact. McCarty up into the wall.
That was Jake McCarty.
Yeah, McCarty up into the wall. He got forced up there. A little contact. He's going to slide to the rear here off that as Devin Butchino, again, just tearing through the field right now.
Yes, those fresh tires make you feel like Superman here in Indianapolis, and we're definitely seeing that right here with Devin Butchino closing in on Eddie Morris for this second place position. And while all of this hullabaloo is going on, David Hartney is able to extend that gap. So now Devin Butchino underneath Eddie Morris on the backstretch, and he is able to shut the door heading into turn number 3. So Devin Butchino really showing what those fresh tires can do for you. He's got 6 laps to try to reel in David Hartney and get to the lead, trying to get those 10 stage points. That means so much.
And Will Witt now underneath Eddie Morris, another one on fresh tires, making his way through the field. So a couple drivers really using these Mr. Feelgoods here to get themselves up towards the front.
Walk better with new shoes, that's for sure, and we're seeing that right now. Will Witt side by side Eddie Morris with the nose as they head off of turn number 1 through the short chute into turn number 2. Got a good run, and that Ward Burton machine is able to shut the door. Will Witt to the 4th place position. Eddie Morris has fallen all the way from 2nd, where he restarted, to 5th, so it hasn't been quite the run that Eddie Morris has wanted. He may still be playing the fuel-saving game as well, though.
And with Hartney out in clean air like he is, I don't know if Devin's going to be able to pull up and pass that 43 machine. I mean, he's gaining on him a little bit here, but Hartney, you see, breaking that draft, doing what he's doing here. He's really trying to break the draft down the front stretch. Yeah,
that is serpentining as its finest right there. But last time by, yeah, I mean, we saw Butchino, he ran a 52.9 compared to David Hartney's 54.1. So that's just a big time difference, and it's going to add up as we see Butchino able to get... Oh, there we see that dirty... Oh my gosh, was that the dirty air that got Hartney loose there?
That was, yeah. That was exactly, that was. Butchino pulled right up underneath the 43, and you had lost the rear end, and really easy to do, and that's exactly what I was talking about earlier in the broadcast. So, great save for the 43.
Yes.
I know that was...
that could have been bad.
That would be a pucker factor Zulu right there, as we like to say. So
pucker moment for sure. But looks like he might lose another position as Will Witt is now side by side with him. That is definitely not what David Hartney, but yeah, we were wanted. But we were talking, like you said, about the aerodynamics of these cars, and now if you can get to their back bumper, it's going to make the car very free, just like how if you can get to their rear quarter panel and side by side, it'll dump air on their side and their rear quarter panel getting you free. So there's a lot of ways to make passes with these next-gen cars without even touching them. It's like having to... So Devin Butchino, he pretty much did a bump and run using the force. So good move
pretty
there
much,
for Devin.
Hartney made that right rear tire extremely angry, and I'm watching him slide that car all over the place right now.
Yeah, he's just hoping that these 3 laps tick away very quickly, because when it got loose, that hyper accelerated the wear of the tires, and that's going to definitely hurt that right rear a lot more, causing him to push up the racetrack, and he'll probably be having to fight that car down to the bottom. You'll definitely see it affecting it through the center of the corner, where that car is going to be pushing up the most.
And Hartney's got some damage to the right side of that car too, so that's affecting the handling of that vehicle as well. So looks like he's going to lose another position as Joe Wright's catching him pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think it's mostly that damage is on the right rear area, so that could definitely affect the aerodynamics. This is a very aero-dependent track, so we'll see if you can make it to the 2nd stage break.
That right side of the car is the most important side of the car. That's what takes the brunt of the air as the car goes through the corner, and if you lose any bit of downforce over there, that will definitely cause the car to get loose coming through the corners. Pits are now closed for the end of the stage.
So no drivers will be able to come in and get any new shoes before the stage caution. We'll be watching some battles for some of the stage points right now. Joe Wright trying to get by David Hartney for this 5th position. If Joe Wright finishes 5th, he will be getting 6 stage points. So that'll be something good there for Joe. He gets underneath them. David Hartney, you can definitely tell his car is not performing as well as he would like, and Joe Wright taking advantage of that, trying to make the pass, although Hartney doing a decent job defending it despite the damage that he has on the car and how much war that the right rear took.
You see Hartney not really blocking, but defending. Big difference between those two. And we all know Joe Wright's one of the hardest drivers in this series to pass. I always call him the Ryan Newman of the series.
Yeah.
And, Hartney's trying to give it back to him like he would be raced as well. So, I don't see anything but hard racing right here for some playoff points, as we see the 79 of Brian Boyd coming up in the mix here too. Yeah, 3 wide down the backstretch.
Wow, Billy Tyvoff says, hey, we're coming to the stage break, let's risk it. They're 3 wide heading into 3 and 4. This could go really well or really bad. And looks like Joe Wright backs out and says, hey, I don't want to deal with this. And now it's just a 2-horse race between Tyloff and Hartney. We see a little wiggle off of 3 for Tyloff, but nonetheless, he is able to get clear to that 5th place position. So now Joe Wright able to get clear. Oh no, Hartney loose off of turn number 4. He avoids hitting the pit road wall.
Caution is out for the stage, so it really didn't matter too much there, but wow, what a save for the 43.
And we just saw in that stint 2 pucker moment Zulus for David Hartney. He might need to change of underwear here during this stage break. It's been a really crazy race for David Hartney there during that stint. I'm sure he's glad that he can come in, get some fresh tires, and just take a deep breath here. But Devin Butchino will win that stage. He looked really good on those fresh tires, showing that they can play a role. So all these drivers taking a deep breath. I'm sure we're going to see pretty much the entire field take it onto pit road to get some fresh tires and fuel. Now, Josh, do you think that these drivers are going to be able to make it the rest of the way, or will we see maybe a pit stop?
Oh, we're definitely going to have to see a pit stop. I believe the stint is about 22 to 25 laps. Cannot make it all the way to the end. So I think they're going to probably split this one in half. And, maybe come in and pit on lap 80 or so. And you might even see some drivers taking 2 tires. I know a couple of years ago in the original Rebels Racing League Friday Night Xfinity Series, I was able to drive up into the top 3 on 2 tires. So it is possible to do here.
Well, thank you for that, Larry I mean Josh Hall, sorry. All right, we're getting ready for the pit stops here. Will we see any 2-tire stops? That is the question, or is everybody going to opt for the 4 tires? I mean, there's no shortage of tires behind the wall, but still, I mean, if you are farther in the back and you take 2 tires, you will definitely be the first driver off of pit road, and you will be most likely in that first place position. And we've seen so much track position is so important because of that dirty air. So if you're in that first place position, you don't have anybody in front of you to worry about the dirty air. And that's a huge advantage.
If I'm back Dave Hartney or where Blaze Richardson is back there, I'm coming down. I'm taking 2 for 2 reasons. Number 1, I want to get that track position. We were just on pit road just a couple laps ago. And number 2, try it out if we have a late race caution where we can get fresh tires and then another caution a little bit after that. See how those 2 tires wear and feel. Let's see if it's an option later on in the race.
What are you seeing right now on pit road, Josh? Any 2-tire takers?
Looks like all 4 tires for everybody on pit road.
All right, well, nobody opting for the strategy. And Devin Butchino will win the race off of pit road. Matthew Scott.
Barely.
Yes, that was a really close finish. Always fun to see a good pit road finish. Will Witt 4th, Eddie Moore's 5th, Joe Wright 6th, Tyloff 7th, McCarty 8th, Hartney 9th. And running at your top 10, that is Blaze Richardson. We did see 1 driver stay out. That is Riley Gomes. But I don't know I think maybe Gomes, I'm not sure, but Gomes may have been a lap down and just stayed out so they could get their lap back, and then they're just going to come back in and get their necessary tires and whatnot. But Gomes may be staying out. We'll see.
Yeah, he's being scored currently 4th. Behind Butch, and we'll have to see how it comes back around. Now he's being scored as the leader, so.
Yep, that's what it says here in SCK's. Yep, being scored as the leader on the lead lap. But, I mean, it's going to be an extremely unfair. He's not going to be able to keep the lead for long with pretty much the entire field on fresh tires and him being on those older tires. Yeah, he's going for the strategy. Wow. Riley Gomes risking it for the biscuit. He will stay out. He's on 49. So let's see how old. He is on 13 lap tires. Had to break out the calculator. Yep, 13 lap tires. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep the lead for more than 2 corners. I'm going to be honest with you.
I think he might be able to. As I said before, tire wear isn't as extreme as you would expect. I think, and he's taking the inside lane here on the start. I think on those older tires, I personally would have taken the outside lane to try to get the arc down into turn number 1. But hey, I think he might be able to hold on here for at least a couple laps.
All right, we'll see what extreme it'll be, if he can hold on to the lead for a little bit or if it'll be instantaneously he loses the lead. I mean, he's got a fast Devin Butchino on his outside. Butchino looked really, really good during that last stint. And like you said, Devin Butchino, he's going to be able to take advantage of that arc that you get from starting on the outside, while Gomes is going to have a little bit of a lower entry into turn number 1, and it's going to be even more difficult to keep it on the bottom with how it's going to get tight in the center with those older tires. So, I mean, I think Butchino is in a good situation right now to take the lead. We'll see if he uses it to his advantage. Will Witt currently resides in fourth right now. Scott in third, and then Eddie Morris is in that 5th place spot. Fresh tires versus Riley Gomes. Let's see what happens.
Another thing we forget about is the front stretch is asymmetrical. The start-finish line is almost 3/4 of the way down the front stretch. So watch for these drivers to really have to get checked up to not switch lanes before the start-finish line here.
That's the fun fact of the day. I did not know that it wasn't halfway through the corner. It'll make for a good finish, potentially. All right, green flag is back out. Riley Gomes will lead the field to the final stage of the race. Got a side-by-side battle for second right now. Matthew Scott underneath the 68 machine, and he is able to shut the doors as they head off of turn number 1. Now he is reeling in Riley Gomes as they take it off of turn number 2. So far, so good. I mean, Gomes keeping it in the lead longer than I expected, but I think the true test will be if Matthew Scott can build up a big run on this backstretch. And actually, Devin Butchino builds up a good run, and he is able to get underneath Scott. He gets clear, and now he's underneath Riley Gomes. Oh, Gomes into the outside wall. That will kill his momentum. Devin Butchino is now to the race lead with Matthew Scott in second, Eddie Morris third. We got Will Witt in fourth, Joe Wright fifth, and looks like Gomes was not able to keep it in the lead for more than a lap.
No, he just barely kissed the wall too, so it really didn't hurt. These cars are so resilient when they just touch the wall like that, so I think he's right back up with these boys in just a couple laps.
Got a tight battle from second all the way to fifth. That's Matthew Scott currently watching in the second place position. He goes all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to break the draft from Eddie Morris, but it's to no avail. Eddie Morris, big run on the outside, heading into 3 and 4. Eddie Morris, he's got the nose, making the outside work, which we've seen a few drivers be able to do that, especially with the fact that, like you mentioned, we were talking about the restart, they have that arc. And Eddie Morris is able to shut the door and get clear, so he's worked his way back up to 5th to the second place spot, and he will set his sights now on Devin Butchino for the second place position. But not before Matthew Scott tries to get back by Morris, and he's actually got some drafting help from Will Witt.
Ooh, a little 3 wide there. Morris gets really sliding the car off of turn number 1. Able to hold on to it though, and I think that kind of spooked the drivers behind as they all checked up, seeing that 8 machine sideways, and now Will Witt taking over the 3rd spot with a little push here from the 82 of Joe Wright, and there's Dave Hartney right back in the mix here as well.
Right now, definitely in this battle, side-by-side battle, Will Witt has the advantage. That drafting help that Joe Wright is giving him is so helpful, and there we go. He is able to get clear over Matthew Scott and gets tucked in line into that 3rd place position. So now the battle is on for 3rd, or still the battle is on for 3rd. Scott able to keep up with Will Witt. We'll see if he can try to make a pass back here and get that 3rd place position back, but watch out for Joe in that 82 machine. Watch out for Hartney. We got Jake McCarty there as well. So top contenders looking to try to work their way up through the field.
Blaze Richardson bounces off the wall in front of the backside of the field here, and keeps going, but checks up the back of the field. You see Dave Wright, Riley Gomes back here a little further back, side by side. Great battle in the middle part of the track as well. So great battles all over the track right now.
I know you mentioned Riley Gomes. Riley took a risk, and that would have been phenomenal if it would have worked out, but it did not. Riley Gomes has gone from first place on the restart all the way to 14th. So strategy doesn't work, but sometimes if you're farther in the back of the pack, you got to gamble on the strategy if you want a chance at getting the win.
Yeah, definitely enjoying the paint job on that 9 machine as well. Big blocks down the front stretch from the 90 on Brett Merle there. It's John Lynch. Huge block down the front stretch. I did not like that at all.
We may have a battle for the lead beginning to brew bit by bit. Eddie Morris is reeling in the 68 machine for this first place spot. Last time by, he ran about 3/10 faster than that 68 machine. And now these two are...
Dave Wright around on the backstretch into the outside wall. Comes back across the track. Oh, gets collected by Cody Moore. Caution will be out. Caution is not out. No caution.
Yeah, more cars spinning. No caution. Dave Wright is like trying to spin it around. Maybe. Oh no. Oh, he gets it into the wall.
Oh, side-by-side battle. More contact between Joe Wright and David Hartman up towards the front as well. And man, that was
really
that was a wild ride that the 84 just took down the backstretch.
I'm sure he's definitely frustrated. No caution came out there, and he's way far behind the field now.
Yeah, if you get a chance to go back and watch that one.
Look at that. There we go. So it looks like he's side by side with John Lynch here. And
yeah, just the air pulls the 90 up into the outside, a little high there, and you see he just takes the wild ride. The roof flaps deploy, keep that car down on the ground. It goes for a wild ride through what little John Deere country there is, and pounds that inside wall and comes back across the track as we see Cody Moore just nowheres to go. It's so hard. Things happen so fast here. It's just a tough break for Cody Moore. You'll see him come right in here and just locked up, nowheres to go. Yeah. Heavy damage for the 52 machine. And I think that is pretty much going to end his day.
Yeah, it already started off as a rough day for Cody Moore. As you mentioned, he has some connection issues, and the bad day just continues with that incident. Dave Wright, he stays out on track despite the accident. He's trying to reel in the next car in front of him, which is the 41 of Charles Balance. He's 6 seconds ahead. He's hoping for a caution.
Dave Hartney just moved around Will Witt up into the 4th position. So Hartney trying to get himself back up toward the front here as well.
And while we were looking at all that craziness, Eddie Morris was able to get by Devin Butchino for the lead. So we now have a new leader at lap number 72. We're approaching 25 laps to go. Eddie Morris hoping to close it out. But still, Devin Butchino keeping it extremely close between himself and Eddie Morris. Oh, we did see Eddie Morris. He extended that gap a lot right there. David Hartney continuing to make quick work, making pass after pass, and the next pass he can potentially make, he's got to get by the 05 of Matthew Scott for 3rd. David Hartney, he's been running in the top 3 through a lot of tonight's event. He's looking really, really good. He's done a great job at setting up various passes, and he's going to try to do it here and get by Matthew Scott.
And I imagine we're going to start seeing some pit stops within the next 8 to 10 laps, if I had to guess. Just kind of splitting this last segment in half. It's been pretty clean. We did see that incident, but no caution coming out. So with the long green flag run, I do imagine we will see some pit stops pretty soon.
Hartney underneath Matthew Scott as they head turn number 3. Able to get a great run on the bottom of the racetrack. He gets clear, and David Hartney up into the top 3, trying to grab a podium and maybe even more if he can catch up to Devin Butchino and Eddie Moore, so that'll knock Matthew Scott down to the 4th place position.
And meanwhile, we've got another battle in the little bit towards the middle there. See it's the 79 of Billy Titoff, Jake McCarty, and John Lynch all battling for position back here.
Yeah, great battle. John Lynch, Jake McCarty. We saw John Lynch up front for a lot of this race, but he has had a rough stretch of laps trying to work his way back up to the front of the field, and one of the passes he's got to make, he's got to get by the 4 of Jake McCarty. We'll see if he's able to do that. Devin Butchino trying to reel Eddie Morris back in for the lead. Last time by, Butchino was about 2/10 faster than Morris, which that means a lot here at this very long racetrack, 2/10.
You missed that, a big slide, little contact between Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence and John Lynch. They're still bouncing off each other down the front stretch here. They were both completely sideways through turns 3 and 4. They were able to hold on to it, but some very tight racing, and it doesn't look like either driver is too pleased with how the other one's running right now.
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating, and especially at this track, you don't want to be too aggressive because anything can go wrong. I mean, I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, yes, this track is extremely fast. It has very long straightaways, but the issue with that is the fact that one small mistake with this very fast speed that these drivers have, it can lead to a lot of damage, like we've seen with many drivers, like we saw with, I know with you, with Brett Murrell, with anybody who's gotten involved in an incident and tagged that outside wall. With those high speeds, once you hit that wall, that car is going to be very destroyed.
And not just that, once you lose a little bit of momentum here, it's a ton. It's not like Daytona or Talladega with the restrictor plates, with the big pack racing where you can, you know, if you lose a little bit of ground when you're running up front, you just fall to the back of the field and then you can try to work your way back through the pack. You don't get that here. You lose position here and it's almost a death sentence. You know, you lose 3-4 seconds and you almost cannot get that back.
No, yeah, this track is such a momentum track, and you need to be with the draft to reel into somebody. So once you lose that, just like the super speedways, you're kind of over with your run. And so, like, for example, we've seen David Hartney in 3rd. He has lost the draft to 1st and 2nd, and then between Will Witt and Joe Wright, they have lost the draft between each other, so it's very easy to do that here. Speaking of David Hartney, Matthew Scott. Oh, we got a car on pit road. That's Riley Gomes, but Riley was on those older tires on the restart, so finally coming in and getting them changed. I believe, yeah, Gomes will be able to make it for the rest of the race now.
Yep, yeah, he'll be able to make it for sure. Like he said, the window's about 25 laps. That's why I figure we'll start seeing more cars down on pit road in the next 3 or 4 laps, getting their final service done.
Yep.
And we'll see, maybe somebody might take those 2 tires. We see, who's that, Dave Wright coming down on the pit road. I know he's going to want to
He
get
does
some
have
of his
damage.
Yep.
So I'm sure he'll get his final set of tires for the race and then get that damage fixed as well. I'm not sure if he's used his fast repair yet. These drivers do have one fast repair to take advantage of.
See a lot of drivers getting a little tight coming off of the corners too, and just barely grazing the walls. So these cars are not handling at all where they were earlier in the race. This is the longest green flag run we've had as well. So these drivers are really starting to feel what these cars are going to do on a long green flag run. And that's another reason why I think these drivers will be trying to come down pit road sooner than later.
Yeah, some tracks, when the tires wear, the car begins to get loose. But I've noticed that most of my experience running in the SCSRA Truck Series and formerly the iOS ARCA Series, I've always experienced the fact that once those tires wear on the intermediate tracks, the car gets super, super tight, and it does not want to get to the bottom of the racetrack. So
John Lynch down on the pit road. We see Ryan Gomes coming down on the pit road. So there you have it. Green flag pit stops starting now.
We got one Venom Racing driver, and then Ryan Gomes is with Mission 22 Motorsports. So 2 drivers on separate teams coming in at the same time. So they're going to be getting their final set of tires and fuel for the rest of the race. Maybe if they have any damage from any of the hullabaloo that's happened in this long green flag run, they'll get some of that fixed. And oh, that'll cost him some time. Ryan Gomes misses his pit stall. That's unfortunate. Very easy to do, though. You carry too much momentum, you go to brake, and you just slide a little bit past it, and iRacing will let you make your pit stop.
And this is an incredibly tough pit road to get onto. A lot of people don't realize it. You're doing, as Joe Wright's coming down pit road now as well, you carry so much speed off the corner, and you're doing, 170 miles an hour, and you got to slow down to 60 miles an hour in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
That inside wall comes up on you quick, and pit road speed starts right at the beginning of that wall. So,
and it's very, the track is very wide on the front stretch, so it's a lot lower than where the racing groove is, so you have to turn way down to the bottom of the racetrack to get on pit road. Yeah, you're carrying so much speed off of turn number 4 that you have to get woed down from very quick times to 60 miles per hour very, very quickly. So it's difficult, and we're going to see our first test of green flag pit stops as the leaders
Devin
come in.
Butchino just got around Eddie Morris before coming down onto pit road. They get woed down, on teammates with Dave Hartney right behind as well.
So this will give the lead now to Matthew Scott. Oh, we got Cheeseburger in as well. DBC driver Billy Tyvoff, he is in that 79 machine. So pit road beginning to become a busy, busy place. Question now, we're looking at our leader, Matthew Scott. When will he make his green flag pit stops? He is currently a little bit over 1 second of tire fall off. Looking at his lap times, he ran, best time is a 52.95, and his last time was a 54.29. He is battling with somebody, though, even as he tries to... There we go, both of them coming in, Scott and Witt.
Yeah, him and Will Witt both making their way down. That's going to give the lead. Nope, Jake McCarty's going to come down pit road as well. So it looks like Blaze Richardson may be the one staying out. He's about 12 seconds behind.
Gets by McCarty, gets by Witt, and he gets by Matthew Scott, Blaze Richardson to the lead. He's a dark horse candidate always in these races. Cool to see him leading some laps. I believe these are some of his first laps. That this will be one of his first laps he's led this season. He may have led a couple in some of the other fuel mileage races, but glad to see that number 18 machine in the lead right now. We do have a few other drivers that still need to come in. Brett Merle and Charles Balance. All of them need to come in.
It sounds like Blaze Richardson might be making his way down pit road this time. Sounded like he was slowing down a little bit coming up through turns 3 and 4. So, no, it looks like he's going to stay out here another lap. So,
I think he just might seem a little bit slower with how uncomfortable those tires are making the car feel.
Yeah, he's hoping for a caution to come out. He's hoping somebody loses it coming off pit road like we saw with Brett Merle earlier. Yeah, which again, so easy to do. Oh, sideways. The 18 machine was just dirt tracking it off of turn number 1. So yeah, that car is not handling anywhere near where he wants it.
Yeah, that's what'll happen when typically you're pushing up in the center. When you try to turn it down back to the bottom, that car wants nothing to do with it, and it begins to just snap loose, and that's exactly what we saw happen there with Blaze Richardson. He is either hoping for a caution to come out very, very soon, or he's going to have no choice but to come in and get some Mr. Feelgoods.
In these cars with the I know it's a fixed setup, but there are some adjustments you can make with these cars, and one of them is just like the real cars, the brake cylinders, the master cylinders. These cars have 2 different master cylinders, one at the front, one at the back, and you can choose the size of the cylinder, and that allows you to really dial in how much brake that you want to use. I know myself, I was using a 7/8 in the front and a 3/4 in the back, and that was giving my starting brake bias right around 44% to the rear. I mean, it's 44% to the front, so most of my bias was to the rear, but I could crank that all the way down to like 36%, so using a lot of rear brake. So depending what these guys are doing, they could even dial even more rear brake than that in, and that's where you can see these guys getting a little loose getting into the corners.
Yeah, I don't really talk about that a lot, but it does play a major factor, the in-car adjustments that these drivers can make. So throughout the race, Many drivers messing with that brake bias, just trying to get it exactly how they like it. It will evolve throughout the race as the tires wear, as the tires are newer. Blaze Richardson really extending this run. So is Brett Merle, who currently runs in the second place position. Both of them came in at lap number 62. They have their fingers crossed while they're turning that steering wheel that a caution flag will come in and they will able to get some fresh tires, have the freshest tires out of the entire field, and have some good track position. The other driver that needed to come in that I forgot to mention, Charles Balance, he is coming into the pits right now. Gonna get some fresh tires, some fuel, and he will be able to make it the rest of the way. Right now, the battle for the first place on fresh tires. This is between Eddie Morris and Devin Butchino. When Richardson and Merle come in, one of these drivers will assume the lead. The question is, who will that be? And this battle could greatly determine that, as Devin Butchino tries to close in on the back bumper of Eddie Morris here. And at this time, we've had a great amount of action so far. While the field is spread out, we're going to do something we always like to do here on these broadcasts. We're going to pump up the intensity. Here, you will get to see the sights and hear the sounds of the racetrack and hear that sweet race car noise. Here we go. That'll do it for Pump Up the Intensity. Hopefully you enjoyed us turning up the volume. We set our sights back to the racing action, and right now, Blaze Richardson remains your leader. He still has not come in yet. Neither has Brett Merle. We'll see how long they can last, Josh.
I'm surprised these drivers have both stayed out as long as they have, losing a ton of time out on the racetrack. Last time by, Blaze Richardson ran a 54.8, and your first driver on tires, Eddie Morris, ran a 53.0. So that's almost a 2-second difference between Blaze and Eddie there, and the gap only 20 seconds. So that sounds like a lot of time, but that's only 10 laps until he catches them.
I have gotten word from the Intensity Broadcasting producer, because the race is going a little bit late past its allotted time slot. We will not have interviews tonight, so we will just be covering the racing action. As soon as the race is completed, we will sign off, because we have to get off for the Corgi races at Intensity Downs. That's going to be a big event as we make way for Intensity Broadcasting the Ocho.
Dave Hartney running down Will Witt right now for that, what's going to be the 6th position. Just clicking laps away. And Hartney, like you said, he's been a dark horse here tonight. He's been incredibly fast as he's working up on his teammate, Charles Bounce, here.
I've been super impressed with David Hartney's performance, and he is closing in on Will Witt. He had to get by Charles Balance there, his teammate, and now here he is looking to make a pass for the 6th place position. Coming up on 10 laps to go. 10 more trips around this 2.5 mile racetrack.
And I just saw Hartney do something that you typically do not want to do here, and that's he got down on the curbing there in the corner. That really upsets the cars here. There is no grip that low on the track. That painted surface really lends to well, it helps the car turn, but there's just no forward grip on there as well. So kind of surprised he was able to get down there and still gain a little bit on Will Litt.
Yeah, I mean, you can make it work. Like you mentioned, it does. It makes it rotate. So if you get down there, take advantage of that rotation that it gives you, I mean, you can make it work. And we saw David Hartney trying to... There we go. Richardson is in. And so is Merle.
Pit road, there's a Merle. So there it is. Eddie Morris is going to retake the lead. He's got barely a 0.2 of a second lead over Devin Butchino.
So Eddie Morris, there he is, taking the race lead. But he's got Devin Butchino right behind him, 10 laps to go. This could be a fun battle to the finish.
And if Eddie wins this race, this would be Butchino's, I believe, 7th second place finish in a row.
Jeez, that is no fun at all.
Between both series.
Yeah, no, that's no fun at all. I mean, second place is good. You're being consistent. You're having good finishes, but the fact that you've come to the victory lane, so close to victory lane so many times, that's definitely frustrating. So I don't think Devin Butchino is going to settle for a second place. He's going to push it as hard as he can to try to get by Eddie Morris for this first place position. But I mean, Eddie Morris, he's one of those drivers that's looked good all race long in that junior motorsports machine. Been really impressed with how Eddie Morris has handled this track. I mean, he is one of the drivers that I had on my radar coming into tonight. He's the point standings leader. He's been good all season, but he has not gotten any wins on any of the 2 mile plus intermediate tracks. So really glad to see Eddie Morris having a good run tonight. It may end up in a win, or we may see it end up in a second place finish. There's Butchino diving it down underneath Eddie Morris for the lead. Here they are heading off of turn number 3 into turn number 4. Can Butchino shut the door as they head off of 4? Morris getting a little bit high, almost tags the outside wall. He's got a big run on the straightaway, trying his best to get clear over Devin Butchino. He is almost there. Do. Sliding a little bit off of turn number 2. Or excuse me, turn number 1. Just trying his best to reel in Eddie Morris here. Looks like they have some lap traffic to worry about. That's Billy Tithoff in the 79. I assume he's just going to hold it on the bottom and they'll get by him on the outside. Eddie Morris. Let's watch the lines really quick to see who's maybe getting off the corner a little bit better. So there it is. Oh, another wiggle from Eddie Morris on corner exit. He pushes way up, almost gets into the outside wall. That builds up momentum for Devin Butchino. He is sucking up right to the back bumper of Eddie Morris. He does not make the move, both of them able to get underneath Billy Tithoff.
And where they caught that 79 machine, that really hurt Butch's momentum there off the corner. And it's not 6 in a row, I apologize. If he comes in second tonight, it'll be his 5th second place in a row. He's got the position now underneath Eddie Morris. He's going to take that position away. Morris, I'm going to cross him over off of the corner, but just not able to stick it down back underneath as they come down this front straightaway. We're coming to 6 laps to go.
All right, Devin Butchino, can he hold on to the lead? I know he's definitely happy. He's gotten up to that first place position, but it's not over yet. Eddie Morris sticking right with him, looking to try to get that first place position back. He's just trying to find out how to do it, looking high, looking low. Trying to set up the pass, looking to see where maybe Devin Butchino is making a mistake. We see Devin Butchino goes down to the bottom of the racetrack, maybe trying to prevent Eddie Morris from getting the draft, but that helps him.
Eddie Morris back to the lead, going down into turn number 3. what a move by Morris to the outside. And right now, those are the only two drivers that are really within striking distance of each other. And that's kind of what these leaders want to see, is not a chance for a caution, as we are now coming to 5 laps to go. And here comes Butch making a move down to the inside.
All right, here we go. This is what we love to see. 5 laps to go. They are side by side into 1 and 2. Butchino with the advantage as they head off the corner. Through the short chute they go. Butchino was able to get clear. Eddie Moore is trying to get underneath. He's 68 now. Can he do it? No, Butchino shuts the door. Oh, we see 79 very squirrely off of turn number 2. Luckily, he is able to save it. Not a factor for the battle for the lead. He is a lap car.
And don't forget, these two boys are teammates right here. This is a lot of respect being... oh, Eddie catches the wall just a little bit off the corner, but these two drivers really, showing a lot of respect. Even though they're teammates, though, they're racing each other incredibly hard here for the victory.
Yeah, and I think that shows what their impression of being a teammate is, and then that's what it is. You work together, you run clean, but you also run hard. And that's what we're seeing it with these two Neon Racing teammates. This is their first year together at teammates. These two drivers are the longest tenured drivers with the SCSRA. They have made the most starts. Both of them have in this series. They're going to be reaching insane milestones throughout the season for most starts. So they've raced with each other a long time, but this is the first year that they have been full-on teammates. So it's been interesting to watch. The whole Neon Racing team is very revamped. It's been interesting to watch them work together and see how they've been able to adapt and improve as teammates.
Dave Hartney down on pit road, not really sure what happened, and oh no. He slapped the wall off a turn at number 4, and almost caught the inside pit road wall, and a lot of damage for the 43, unfortunately. Tough break for David Hartney, who was having such a great run here tonight.
3 laps to go, and Devin Butchino is beginning to extend that gap over Eddie Morris. So far this season, Devin Butchino has not been able to break in victory lane. He has came close a couple of times, like you mentioned. He's had a lot of bridesmaid finishes, but, he hasn't been able to do the victory donuts. He has not been able to park it in victory lane. So I think tonight could be the night, but he's got to hold off Eddie Morris as he takes the 2 to go. He's got to have 8 impeccable corners. We'll see if he can do it. Good run through in the rest of the top 5 positions. Matthew Scott, very impressed with his run tonight. Will Ritt in 4th. He's been quick all race long. And then Joe Wright looking to try to bring it home in a 5th place position. Happy to see that 82 have a good run. And good runs are a lot harder to come by. This has definitely been the most competitive field that the SCSRA has seen in a long time. You never know who is going to win week in and week out. In fact, so far throughout this season, we have had a unique winner every single race. And if Devin Butchino wins tonight, that streak will continue. And coming into next week, we will still have a unique winner in every single race. Eddie Morris would prevent that from happening, though, because if he won tonight, this would be his 2nd win of the season. All right, Devin Butchino takes it off of turn number 4. He will grab the white flag. He's been in the top 3 for most of this race, has looked very quick, had a good pit strategy throughout this final stint. He's done a great job managing those tires, so he had enough there at the end to have a good run to the finish. And now he will be looking to grab his first win of the season. This has been a very tricky track for many drivers. Some of the best have struggled throughout this race, but Devin Butchino has not let this track phase him. Remember, he is the only other driver that has won an SCSRA race here at Indianapolis. He won here back in Season 3 in the Xfinity Series. And now he takes it off of turn number 4. He will be a next-gen winner here at Indianapolis. Devin Butchino wins the Brickyard 100 presented by the Blue Ridge Auto Group. First win of the season. Devin Butchino has to be happy about that result.
and finally getting the monkey off his back after having so many second place finishes in a row. Great to see him in victory lane, and congrats to him and Eddie and Matt for that top 3.
Yeah, Eddie and Matthew Scott, great runs for the both of them. We see Will Witt coming across the line in 4th. Joe Wright will finish 5th. We'll watch Devin Butchino do his donuts and whatnot, and then because, again, we have a new rule with this. If the races do go past 11:30, we will not do the interviews. So this race has gone past 11:30. It has been some phenomenal racing, though, and I was really glad to see a great final battle between Devin Butchino and Eddie Morris, and we're going to get to see Eddie Morris, we're going to get to see Devin Butchino after taking a podium picture with him and Eddie, and Matthew, we're going to get to see him burn it down. It was a tale of 2 races after the halfway point at first. Saw a lot of cautions, a lot of great battles, and then after the second stage break, we just saw a really long green flag run. The field got strung out and really just came down to who could save tires the best, who had the best pit strategy, and that award went to Devin Butchino, and he's celebrating that as he burns it down on the bricks. Fortunately, iRacing has not added a feature where you can kiss the bricks.
Well, Atley, it was great calling the race with you, and man, I unfortunately, I hate the circumstance, but it was great being up in the booth here with you tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely been fun having you providing that driver perspective, Josh. Sorry you had a tough break in the race, but hopefully we'll see you back and better than ever next week. Thanks for hopping in the booth, Josh.
Have a good night.
You too. Well, there is Devin Butchino doing the Polish victory lap that has been popularized by the late Alan Kulwicki. Rick Ward says, good win, Devin. It was a good win indeed for that 68 machine. We'll pull up the race results while we close out this broadcast. Again, Devin Butchino wins, Eddie Moore 2nd, Matthew Scott 3rd, Will Witt 4th, and rounding out your top 5, that is Joe Wright. Want to give a big thank you to series sponsor Dev Sports Cards for stepping up again this season and sponsoring the Next Gen Series. Thank you to Blue Ridge Auto Group for partnering with the Next Gen Series, and thank you to the Butt Kicker for partnering with Intensity Broadcasting. I want to give a big thank you to all of the league admins that help keep this league running smooth. Give a big thank you to David Hartney, Eddie Morris, Sylvain Seagoin, Joe Wright, Brian Knuutti, Devin Butchino. Sorry, Joe Wright is not an admin. No, you want to give a big thank you to Devin Butchino, Brian Knuutti, Sylvain Seagoin, Eddie Morris, David Hartney. Thank you to all of them for all that they do for this league. Without them, this league would not run as smoothly as it does. Want to give a big thank you to all the drivers who showed out tonight and put up an incredible show here at the historic Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in to watch tonight. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Intensity Broadcasting on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. That'd be greatly appreciated. We're trying to reach our goals of 2,500 followers on Facebook, 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and 1,000 followers on Twitch. Make sure to check out our Twitter page, Intensity Broad 1. We're always dropping polls and interacting with our viewers on there. And make sure to visit our web store, intensitybroadcasting.com. There you can find merchandise from your favorite driver, your favorite broadcaster, your favorite drivers, your favorite leagues, and so much more. We've got all of our Intensity Broadcasting merchandise on there, a bunch of cool Atley Wiese racing items. We've got a bunch of cool auto racing novelty items. We got our driver collections, our lifestyle collections, the team collection, and then, of course, our league collections especially. Make sure to check out the SCSRA section of the league collections and pick up an SCSRA t-shirt. Comes in sizes small to 5XL, and it comes in 5 snazzy colors. Make sure to turn on your notification bell because next week we will be having a little bit of short track action. That's right. We are going to be at Iowa next week. So Turn your notification bell so you don't miss when the SCSRA takes on the Hawkeye State. That should be a fun race. I've announced a few races at Iowa, and it puts on a fantastic show. I'm Atley Wiese on behalf of the entire Intensity Broadcasting team. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next time. Over and out.